What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the 2007 mixtape by Soulja Boy. Basically, this project is called Supaman and it came out in the summer of 2007. Now, the thing about this particular project is this came after the unsigned and still major project from early 2007 by Soulja Boy, which was a hit snap rap album. Just in particular, did a lot of good stuff on that. Just an independent type album that had a bunch of garage band type beats and stuff like that that just kind of revolutionized like snap rap sound and rap music as far as that pitch can happen. Soulja Boy Soulja Boy was one of the initial internet rappers to kind of blow up around that particular time as far as that pitch kind of went. It was kind of a differential type style. I mean, Snap was kind of popular. Snap was kind of popular in 2005 and 2006 with folks like Them Franchise Boys and D Pharrell and Jibs and some of those type folks. But in particular, Soulja Boy kind of helped revolutionize that sort of stuff. And this is the particular mixtape here that did a lot of damage. This, to my knowledge, is like the debut project that had cranked that Soulja Boy on there, the Superman, that hoe type song as far as that pitch kind of happened with it. This was originally a free song and it blew up in the summer of 2007, and he dropped an album pretty quickly in the fall of 2007 after these particular two projects. Now, Unsigned and Still Major was like the album before the album. I think that's what it's called. Also, is the album before the album. Was basically that was the kickoff project that just initialized Soulja Boy as far as that pitch kind of went with it. Just a lot of dope stuff, just kind of getting like some great dance club beats and stuff like that. I reviewed that particular album back in September. It was pretty good pitch to kind of get that one. Definitely had some good internet rap type sounds and just dance rap type music and just stuff like that. Just great for dance clubs, dance floors, school dances, things like that. Just a bunch of pitches as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just a lot of good relative to localized and kind of residential type fare. But this particular mixtape is pretty good. Also has a bunch of songs on here that are also on the Soulja Boy album, SouljaBoyTellHim.com from 2007, and it also has a bunch of songs on here that are on the Unsigned and Still Major album. So there's an amalgamation of some of these songs. At least 8 of the songs I recommend on this particular mixtape are also on those two projects as far as that pitch kind of happens with it. SouljaBoyTellHim.com and then the album before, and then Unsigned and Still Major, I would have to say. But there are 7 songs on this particular mixtape that are exclusive to this particular mixtape as far as that kind of happens, which is a pretty good pitch. These are basically like some in-between type Soulja Boy songs as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just some more dance club type music. There's some gems on here just within that relative pitch. I would say some good other stuff. I mean, obviously the biggest songs would probably be some of the singles on here like I Got Some Bapes and Crank That Soulja Boy, some of those type ones. Yeah, Bitch, some of those type ones that were singles off that particular album. There's another one on here that I'm forgetting about. That is Shootout was a pretty nice one that was called Let Me Get 'Em. That was a promotional single off the Soulja Boy album from 2007. So it's a pretty good pitch. But yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and recommend like these 15 songs out of 21 that I recommend on here. So it's quite a bit. This is actually a pretty heralded mixtape. This did a lot of damage as far as that pitch happens. And the thing to remember is this is kind of a localized type project. A lot of good around like school quarters, stuff like that. If you're kind of, whether it's college and high school campuses, stuff like that, just relative localized type stuff, just relative pitches, just kind of courtyards, stuff like that, just places to smoke weed, some of those type places, just around the neighborhood, residential type stuff, just localized type stuff, but it's still a pretty good pitch. I mean, I do feel like there are a couple of nightclub bops on here, but most of this is just kind of dance club music and just kind of more internet type rap. You get the internet type songs on here, like songs for the ladies, just within that pitch, like You've Got Mail and like Yahoo Hose and You've Got Mail and some of those type ones. There's another one on here I'm trying to think of, but like Doo Doo Head and some of those type ones just within that relative pitch as far as that kind of goes along with it. But yeah, just some good dance craze as far as that kind of goes along. Just would have to say some good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and recommend the 15 songs out of 21. So once again, this is quite a bit, but the thing about it is half the songs I recommend on this particular product can be found on the other two Soulja Boy projects that were pretty large in 2007. So it's this kind of concept that somewhat negates the quality of this project, but not wholesomely. I'm still going to give this a relatively high score just as a result of there being that many damn songs that are that good, I'd have to say. So it's a good concept. But basically, the 7 songs I recommend that are full-blown songs I recommend would be 10 on Pump 4, Doo Doo Head, Give Me a High Five, Make Your Face Beat Up My Hands, Pimp Slap That Hoe, Yahoo Hose, and You Got Mail. And the 8 songs that are almost songs that are to be found in the other two Soulja Boy projects that I listed would be Bring That Beat Back, Crank That Dance, I Got Some Bapes, Shootout, Soulja Boy Ain't Got No Money, Superman, Crank That Soulja Boy, What's Happening, and Y'all Bitch. So that's kind of the concept about it. Now, all of these thing about it in particular is the Soulja Boy album from the fall of 2007. That was kind of the concept that a lot of these are just kind of more mixtape quality. I don't really think you don't really get like the full blown song. These are just kind of like snippets and stuff like that, just kind of hodgepodge, just halfway, kind of half arse type stuff as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. But it's just some good concepts to get these in particular, just because it's an early format. I like the Soulja Boy type sound. But at this stage, I would obviously just recommend getting the two Soulja Boy albums from 2007, which would be Unsigned and Still Major, and then SouljaBoyTellHim.com, both of which are pretty damn good albums just within the internet, just within a localized and residential dance rap type sense, and pretty quality. Just overall, just those were some revolutionary albums that did a lot for like internet rap and just overall things of that nature, snap rap and those sorts of dance trends and that sort of pitch, as far as like a lot of good social media type stuff, or just a lot of good quality trends in rap music around the late 2000s as far as that pitch kind of has with it. So some good stuff. But we'll go ahead and talk about the 7 songs I recommend on here. So basically 10 on Pump 4 is a pretty nice one. This is like a lyric kind of evening smog of a song, I'd have to say. It's like a good snap tune for like some local crunk fun, I would have to say, in particular. And this is just a basic kind of cruise out type cut, I would have to suppose. So pretty residential type one, just getting gas at a gas station, some stuff like that, just picking up some snackage, some Dr. Peppers, some Swishers, some stuff like that as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Flirting with some ladies at the gas pump, something of that relative pitch, I'd have to suppose. It's a good concept to get that one in particular. Really kind of nice one. It's not commonly that you see folks particularly make a song about just being at a gas station pump as far as that pitch kind of has with it. Just some good stuff to kind of get that, but I do appreciate that one. Just a lackadaisical kind of residential type one that has a lot of good appeal. It's a pretty good snap rap type tune as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Doo-Doo Head is a pretty nice one. It's like a dreary kind of slurred out chicken head type tune, I would have to say, in particular. Just a pretty good bop within that sense. It's like a basic kind of social commotion of a song, I'd have to say, and this is just like a local kind of bubbler. So this is definitely one for some chicas, some chicken heads, some stuff like that. Just kind of some chicks that you make fun of just within that relative sense. Not to say full-blown insult, but just kind of just screwing with them, that sort of pitch. Doo-doo head is kind of the concept of Soulja Boy, just calling them like a doo-doo head, something of that relative pitch. It's a relative kind of kickback type connotation as far as that kind of goes. It's a basic kind of social turn-up, but just something relative, just a vanilla kind of snap rap type song that just has that sort of appeal. Real nice one, just kind of for like some social commute just within that fair as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. It's a good evening pitch. Yahoo Hose is a pretty nice one. Like the originality of this particular song. It's like an original kind of internet rap gem, I would have to say, in particular. This is a good quickie, I would definitely feel like, and this is just a decent dance and kind of noisemaker hit, I would have to suppose. It's a pretty nice one. It's kind of a concept of just talking about some instant messaging women and stuff like that, just back in the Yahoo days, back when instant messaging and those AOL type things were kind of happening just within that pitch. Kind of good concept to get some of that, but it's just kind of, and some of these, I do like this particular one. I wish this song would have been a little bit longer. It's just a real kind of quickie of one, just less than 2 minutes, less than a minute and a half for the most part, I'd have to suppose. It's kind of, this one probably could have been realized a little bit better and had a little bit more towards it, but it works as like a pretty good quickie just within that relative sense, I'd have to say. You Got Mail is a pretty nice one. This is like another kind of internet rap type one that works pretty well, I'd have to say. It's like a woozy kind of snap rap rumbler, I'd have to say. The beat on this particular song got really loud. At least the version of the song that I got on the particular mixtape I downloaded was pretty loud type one. It really has like the 808s kind of really whirl on this particular song as far as that pitch can happens with it. But it's a nice one. It's like a trailblazer of a song, I'd have to say. It's a good in between getting things ready as far as that kind of pitch happens. It's a good in between with getting things ready as far as that pitch can happen. Just getting some snacks and some smokage ready, some of those type pitches, picking up pizzas, some of those type things. It's that relative pitch, getting the PlayStation games ready, some of those type things. It's kind of being able to say as the women get ready to show up and some of that type pitch. I mean, this can kind of be a house party type song. It's kind of a commotion, just kind of this is just like a good exhilarating type one. That's just kind of where it's not quite the full blown craze of some of these. I mean, there's definitely some dance songs on here. I feel like Make Your Face Beat Up My Hands, Give Me a High Five, little bit of doo-doo head and pimp slap that hoe, or some ones for like the dance floor and pitches like that as far as like snap rap classics as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. But I would have to say that You Got Mail is just kind of an in-between type one that just kind of gets you exhilarated, gets you kind of ready for some of that commotion. Give Me a High Five is a pretty highlighted one. This one definitely reminds me of Crank That Soulja Boy as far as that pitch kind of happens. Very similar to that particular pitch, and some of the ones off of Unsigned and Still Major, I'd have to say. It's like a good basic dance hit, I would have to say. It's an icebreaker cut, definitely, and this song rumbles pretty damn well. This one, if you definitely like Crank That Soulja Boy, if you remember that #1 hit from the fall of 2007 and stuff like that, that big internet craze, there are some other songs that are kind of within that relative pitch, and this is just a good concept for that. Another song that's kind of similar to Give Me a High Five has the same connotation, just the same kind of Give Me a High Five has the same kind of cadence and energy as Crank That Soulja Boy, so that's a pretty nice one. But then another one that kind of has that same kind of similar concept would be Pimp Slap the Hoe. It's pretty nice bopish type one to get here. It's like a basic kind of snap rap tune, I would have to say. It's like a local kind of Laffy Taffy type feel that this song particularly kind of has. And by Laffy Taffy, I mean Laffy Taffy by D Pharrell. Pretty good highlighted type hit just to get within that pitch. Same kind of stuff. Also reminds me of Bet You Can't Do It Like Me, to some of those simplistic kind of internet rap type beats as far as that pitch kind of has with it. Just some good stuff there. And this is just like a basic kind of dance gem, I'd have to say. So it's a pretty good concept for that. Definitely appreciate that one. And then Make Your Face Beat Up My Hands is another highlighted one. This is like a more riled up kind of house party commotion of a song, I'd have to say. It's like a Kickstarter, I would definitely feel like, and this is just some vanilla kind of snap noise in particular. So this one's a little bit more of a fight song, some of that type pitch. I've heard someone else say Make Your Face Beat Up My Hands. I want to say it was like Dem Franchise Boys, one of those type folks. Maybe it was on like Lean With It, Rock With It, something like that. I remember that particular pitch of hearing that before. It's just, that sounds like a kind of Atlanta type thing to say that phrase as far as that pitch kind of particularly has with it. Just a good concept to kind of get that one, but it is pretty nice bopish type one. A little bit more rowdy of one, a little bit more riled up. Definitely need another song like this. Kind of like Ya Bitch. Make Your Face Beat Up My Hands is kind of like Ya Bitch, the third single off of Soulja Boy Tell 'em.com, which is also on this particular project. So it's a good enough concept to get some of these just kind of typical kind of crunk type stuff just within a snap rap type sense as far as that pitch kind of has. So the Soulja Boy's kind of good at these rowdy type ones. It's kind of the concept of being able to do it and have some extra kind of energy that's not just all dance type music and dance floor kind of school dance and just localized, just campus dance things of that pitch, just dance clubs, those sort of pitches. Just some good concepts just within that sense. But yeah, that's basically the mixtape as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just to say about some of these, basically there's a number of gems on here. I do feel like Crank That Dance is a pretty highlighted type one. I Got Some Babes is like a classic kind of Soulja Boy type song as far as that pitch kind of happens. There's some other ones on here. Like Crank That Soulja Boy is, of course, a classic Soulja Boy song. This is a song that hit #1, so this was on a mixtape. A mixtape song actually went to #1 later on. As the album version is probably the better one to get, but this is still pretty good in the early format to kind of hear it. I don't remember if What's Happening was kind of the same beat as it was on like Unsigned and Still Major, but I would have to say it's the concept that it's on here again. I just think it might be in a different format. I'm not really sure as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. And there's some other ones on here like Bring That Beat Back that are just kind of some more dance club type ones just within that pitch. So it's this kind of concept, pretty dance craze type project. I do think Shootout, which is Let Me Get 'Em, is another highlight type one. That's one of the best beats on this particular project. So there's just a good amount of tunes on here. Soulja Boy knew how to get these dance club type singles and stuff like that and just have a lot of good commotion. The social score is going to get a pretty high score. I'm going to go ahead and say that the social score will be pretty rave, but so me basically recommending approximately 15 songs out of 21 on this particular mixtape. I'm going to go ahead and say, despite the fact that out of these 15 songs I recommend, only 7 of them are brand new just within that relative pitch. The other 8 can be found elsewhere. I'm going to go ahead and give this mixtape like an 8 out of 10, just a solid 8 out of 10. It would almost get, I mean, definitely if I enjoyed 15 out of 21 songs and all those songs were original and just not to be found anywhere else, this would probably get like an 8.75 or even pretty damn close to a 9 out of 10, I would have to say in particular. It would be pretty damn close to getting like a 9 out of 10 because 15 out of 21 is pretty spectacular, I would have to say in particular. So I definitely appreciate that concept. But the social score is going to get like a 9.25 out of 10. I really feel like there's a heralded amount of stuff on here that's just pretty quality. Even some of the songs I didn't recommend on here, just to talk about a few of these, like Just Got My Report Card is just a poor type one. I want to say that that was on the Soulja Boy Tell 'em.com type song. Just talking about throw some D's on the report card. Just kind of a poor type one that didn't really amount to much. Jockin' on Your Bitch Ass was just kind of a stunt type song that just was not that effectual or emphatic as far as that pitch kind of happened with it. Didn't really appreciate that one. We Done 30-30 Boys. That was also on like the We Done 30-30 Boys was also on the Unsigned and Still Major album. Just didn't appreciate that one as much. Didn't appreciate it before. I want to say I kind of remember not appreciating that song as much. And then Ye Ain't Crunk was just kind of a crunk type song. It was just talking about folks who aren't crunk and that sort of pitch, but it just didn't really have an interesting way of conveying that. And I would say Test My Nuts just didn't really resonate with me as much. That one was just kind of an awkward type one that just didn't really do a good job of the damage control that it needed just for that particular pitch. It was just not a very affable type one. So that's just kind of the concept about it. But yeah, basically solid 8 out of 10 in terms of score. Solid 8 out of 10 in terms of score. 9.25 social, just because there's a ton of these songs on here just for like some stepping out and pitches like that. Just plenty of good dance crazes and stuff like that. Some internet raps and things like that. Just some social kind of bops and just house party type stuff to kind of get things lit as far as that pitch kind of happens. A little bit. I mean, it is kind of rambunctious, but the concept of it was Soulja Boy was kind of 16, 17 as this particular album was coming out. So it's just kind of the pitch that he was a minor around this time and was still kind of like a sophomore, junior in high school as far as those pitches kind of happen with this. So it's just kind of the concept of that relative pitch, but definitely pretty heralded stuff. This is just an excellent kind of mixtape here. Has a lot of good gems just within that relative pitch. Plenty of good social appeal and stuff like that. pretty affable and outgoing type dude, just within a pitch of kind of having some cranked up kind of times and just overall stuff like that to be able to have that sort of appeal that's pretty vivid and just varietized, I'd have to say. So some good stuff. In terms of the future, like Soulja Boy has put out a number of projects. Apparently he has like over 50, 60 mixtapes, something like that. So he has a number of projects. We're definitely going to have to get to some more of these. I'm going to get to like some more. I definitely want to get to some Soulja Boy mixtapes from 2008 just to see what happened after his hit album from 2007, just to see the initial kind of hits that he had, like when he was in his sweet spot and his Midas touch as far as that pitch kind of has with it. So we'll have to see about some more of these. But this is a pretty heralded mixtape here. It does have some secret gems, I would have to say. It's kind of the concept that if you like Soulja Boy from like his SouljaBoyTellHim.com days and the Unsigned is Still Major type days, these are like some secret batches of hits. There's some extra kind of hits here that has that good kind of dance appeal and social type appeal. That's just great for like some vivid type flair and just stuff like that. I'd have to suppose so some good stuff, and I do recommend it quite a bit. Definitely a pretty rave score, I'd have to say about this.